All right, here we go. Chapter 4 in the Williams family story. And this one drops us right into the middle of one of the most chaotic times in history, the American Revolution. We're going to follow a man, Daniel Williams, who literally saw his entire world change. I mean, think about it. He was born a British subject, but died an American citizen.
So that's the big question, right? How does someone do that? How do you not just survive a revolution, but actually navigate it so well that you come out the other side stronger, building a real legacy for your family in this brand new country? That's what we're going to unpack.
Okay, so a shoemaker's son, forging a path in colonial New Jersey. To really get a handle on who Daniel was, you got to remember where he came from. And if you remember our last deep dive, you'll know his dad. See, Daniel wasn't some guy born with a silver spoon. Nope, he was a tradesman's son. And that fact, right there, set the course for his whole life.
And this is that handoff, from one generation to the next. We're shifting from his dad, John the cordwainer, which, by the way, is a fancy old-timey word for a shoemaker who works with brand new leather, a real skilled craftsman, over to his son, Daniel. And Daniel, well, he's about to take the family business in a whole new direction.
Okay, so let's just lay it all out. We've got Daniel Williams, born around 1737. He's the son of John the shoemaker and Rebecca Christopher. He's Generation 4 in New Jersey, the great-grandson of the guy who started it all, John the settler. But check out that last point, because it's key. His dad's trade is directly linked to his own future. This is more than just a family name. It's a family enterprise taking shape.
Now you might be asking, how do we know all this for sure? Well, it's all about the paper trail. The documents don't lie. What you're looking at here is a piece of his dad, John's will, from 1769. And bam, right there, clear as day, his son, Daniel, is named as an inheritor. This little piece of paper, it's our smoking gun. It's the concrete link connecting father to son.
Marriage and a trade, building a family on the eve of revolution. So Daniel's got his future inheritance lined up. What's next? Well, he does what any ambitious young man would do. He sets out to build a life. That means finding a wife, establishing a career, the usual stuff. Except he's doing it with the biggest storm in American history brewing right over his head.
And here it is. In 1764, Daniel marries a woman named Anstey's West. And this is their marriage license. I mean, just look at that. It's over 250 years old. On the surface, it seems pretty standard, right? But there is one tiny detail on here. The name of the guy who authorized it, that is just, well, it's kind of mind-blowing.
It says, by His Excellency William Franklin, Esquire. William Franklin, does that name ring a bell? It should. He was Benjamin Franklin's son. And not just that, he was the last royal governor of New Jersey. This isn't just a marriage license. It's a direct connection between this family of tradesmen and a major political player right before a revolution would turn that same governor into a public enemy. So what even is this document? It's a marriage bond. Basically, it's a financial promise you made to the royal governor saying, hey, there's no legal reason we can't get married. The very fact that Daniel needed one tells us something really interesting. It suggests he wasn't getting married in a strict Quaker ceremony like his ancestors might have. He was dealing with the official colonial government, maybe leaning more towards a civil or Anglican way of doing things. Okay, so he's married. What about his job? Well, he didn't become a shoemaker like his dad. Instead, he became a tanner. And this was a genius move. Think of it like this. His dad, the shoemaker, runs the factory. Daniel decided to own the supply company. Tanners were the ones who took raw animal hides, a pretty gross, tough job, and turned them into leather. So Daniel makes the leather, and his dad, John, makes the shoes. It's a perfect, vertically integrated family business.
All right, navigating a revolution, growth and stability in a time of war. So now the war hits, and let me tell you, for a lot of people in Monmouth County, especially those loyal to the king, it was a total disaster. They lost everything. But Daniel Williams, the tax records from this time tell a completely different story. They show a guy who isn't just hanging on, he's actually getting richer.
So let's look at the numbers. It's pretty straightforward. In 1785, right after the war, Daniel Sr. has 30 acres and is Tanyard. Fast forward to 1789. Now look, his son, Daniel Jr., is on the tax list. And who's paying taxes on the Tanyard? The son is. That's the business officially being handed down. But wait, it gets even more interesting. Look at what happens by 1794. 30 acres becomes 60. Let that sink in. In a super tough post-war economy, Daniel doubled his improved land. That is a huge deal.
It's a sign of serious success and stability. So the question is, how in the world did he manage that?
Well, the answer comes down to a single incredibly smart land deal. And this wasn't just any old plot of land. This property had a history, a pedigree that was tied directly to the Revolution itself.
So, picture this. It's 1788. The United States is this brand new, wobbly thing. The war is over, but everything's kind of a mess, especially when it comes to who owns what land. Property that belonged to loyalists, it's all up in the air. For most people, it's a headache, but for someone sharp, like Daniel, all that chaos spelled one thing: opportunity.
And this document right here shows you just how bold he was. This is the official survey for that new 30-acre plot. But check this out. The notes on the survey say that it was requested while he was already building a house there. Can you believe the confidence? He was so sure this deal was solid that he started construction before all the paperwork was even finished. That's a power move.
So why was he so confident? Because this wasn't just land. It was Patriot land. I mean, look at this resume. The former owner was Lord Stirling, a major general who served right under George Washington. And the guy selling it, Robert R. Livingston, who was on the committee that literally drafted the Declaration of Independence. Buying this land meant getting a clean, undisputed, non-loyalist title. In a time when property claims were a legal minefield, this was like buying gold.
And this one purchase changed everything. The homestead Daniel built on that land, which today is on the west side of Route 9 in Howell, New Jersey, that place became the Williams family homestead, the anchor, and it stayed in the family for nearly a century. You know, Daniel's whole life was lived through this incredible period of upheaval, but his final act was all about creating the opposite, stability. He made sure that the foundation he'd worked so hard to build wouldn't just disappear. He locked it down with legal documents for the next generation.
And this is just beautiful. Look at this, side by side. On the left, you've got John's will from 1769, naming his son Daniel. And on the right, Daniel's will from 1795, naming his son Daniel. You can't get any clearer than that. It's the generational link, right there in black and white, an unbroken chain.
So let's take a closer look at his will, proved on September 16, 1795. It's all there. He names his wife Antes, his daughter, also named Antes, and his two sons, Daniel and James. No guesswork, no confusion. He laid it all out perfectly. Sons, Daniel and James, remainder of estate, after wife's marriage or decease, to be divided between them. That's it. That's the key line from his will. After his wife is taken care of, everything else, including that incredibly valuable Patriot land, gets split between the boys. It's the official passing of the torch, legally guaranteeing that the family's hard work would continue.
So, Daniel the Tanner laid a foundation of Patriot land and a proven name. I mean, think about his journey. He starts as a shoemaker's son in a British colony and ends up a major landowner in the brand new United States. He leaves his kids with good land and a great reputation. So, the big question we're left with is, how would his son, the fifth generation, build on that legacy as America headed into a whole new century?